Jaden playing. You know, if he's healthy, why should he continue to play?
Right.
How about flip it? Do you see any benefit of him not playing at all this year? If he's healthy, shutting him down, do you see any benefit in that?
Sure, I recognize the question. It's an easy one to go, and we haven't really gone down that road yet to decide. He's out this week, and he's working hard to get back. But as far as what decisions are ahead, like we just haven't gone down that road. He's working incredibly hard to get back with the guys. So, yeah, we're really bummed they got, re-aggravated on this specific injury. Going into it, thought he had a good week. There were things to improve upon into the game to get started, but we haven't gone down all the way yet. We just kind of went through the first evaluations this week to get ready to play. So I'll have a better update as we're moving forward.
How's the team holding up? Long losing streak. You got 4 games left in the season. How do you avoid that so-called checking out kind of, you only have 4 games left, and then it's pack your bags and go to your destinations?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to play for, and we talked about this being a 4-game division tournament here for us, beginning in the Meadowlands. And so when you have a career worst performance, you get back up off the mat and you swing first. That's what that's what competitors and battling for it do. So that's what I expect to see from our team, how we go after it, the style and the attitude that we want to do that together. So that's what I'm expecting to see fully this week in that game. A lot that we had to address and didn't like, but I certainly don't think that's anything that's indicative of what's ahead.
And Coach, just looking back to last week, we know that Jaden had the great practice and that he was trending in the right direction and such. Why was it important that he did get back on the field with his teammates and look to lead his squad?
Yeah, there's so much to gain from playing, and I think Howard were saying that earlier about reps. And at that point, we were probably talking about 30% of the season to go and to gain experience. And so all of that matters in your development. Like we're looking to keep developing him for a really long time. And so if there was a chance to improve over these next games ahead, like we were going to go after that as hard as we could, knowing that it would pay dividends in the future. And so when you have a setback like that happen, obviously we're bummed for him, we're bummed for us, and that's the one thing you didn't want to happen happened. So now we'll move into this week. Marcus will be the starter, but we're pleased with where it was going into the game. Him coming back and being ready.
Being that this is the first team you guys are seeing for the second time, for the rookies, guys like Josh Connolly, do you use this game as kind of a measuring stick for how much he's improved from kind of early on in the season until now?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that we discussed to say, where were you here in September and where are you now? And I think that, like talking about Josh specifically, like he's the ideal person to talk about that first NFL game going. And so like you have to travel that journey a little bit the first year of the ups and downs to go. And so, yeah, there's a side that to say, I want to show it again. And you get, when it's a pretty long, extended time between that, that's a big deal. And so sometimes they're close, like the 2 Philadelphia ones are. So getting to like redo it again. After that one, you get to look at that game a lot and say, okay, where am I at? For the veterans, you can now go through that game, last year's game. So it adds value, and a player learns, okay, I'm starting to get what division means, why they say you know each other well, like, okay, like I literally saw myself playing these guys, and now I get to see it again. So it's the first step of understanding division football.
Dan, if I'm gathering you right, so it sounds like Jaden was saying the day after or so that there was some sort of discomfort and that led to more testing?
No, we knew there was going to be testing from the re-aggravation, but if you ask any player that what you feel like in-game to post-game or Monday, it's usually significantly different.
In real time, you weren't sure exactly if there was some sort of re-aggravation. So the decision to keep him out, how much did what happened previously in the Seattle game weigh on you in making that call?
It didn't weigh on me. Just where we were in the game, it wasn't going like we wanted, and I thought this is the best call right here. And so it wasn't a difficult one that I wrestled with in that spot. Like I said, we're just going to make the best decision for him and the team. So they did the evaluation. It was correct. There weren't any, structural setbacks. He wasn't happy about it, but I thought, hey, this is the best decision right now, and like I'll continue to do that whether it was him or anybody else in that spot.
And to that end, I don't know the exact moment you decided for him to not come back, but it was still, I think, the third quarter, 17-0. In a normal world, that's not a game that a team would say, hey, this is not going right.
Yep.
What does that say, I guess, about your thoughts on where this team is right now that you decided that
It was specific to the game. Specific to the game. It may have felt 17-0. It didn't feel like 17-0 to me.
Take two more.
Hey, Coach. So I wanted to non-jading question. Turnover margin, tackling margin. From a turnover margin perspective, that's something that the team has tried to hit last year and this year, not really hit the mark there. So when you take
I would say there was things I liked better about last year's turnover margin because we ended in the plus. And so I'll push back a little bit on that. This year, couldn't agree with you more.
Imperfect. So with that, what are some of the contributing factors you think, now that you've kind of taken a look at all the games, of why you're not hitting that mark? You ended, like you just mentioned, you hit the plus at the end of last year, but not there this year.
Like most things, it's not just one specific one. Defensively, I certainly like to hit the quarterback more. That's oftentimes where some fumbles can come and you get more, recovery of fumble chances. So that's one spot. We started playing a little bit more vision zone over the last few weeks to see if we could make some collisions, knock a few balls out on the ones that are, caught, even though they're caught in front. Could we go get the contact and create some hits in that way? And then when you have vision on the quarterback, oftentimes you can have, see the throw, break on it better. So we've worked on that. It didn't come to fruition in last week's game. I felt we had a couple of chances to do that. We missed one. I thought, a couple ones towards the sideline. Can you go make your plays? The interception Bobby had a week ago was in a zone where he was able to see it and go break on it. Offensively, it's been a number of things. There's been fumbles and interceptions, obviously. So the fumbles are the ones easiest to say, okay, what was the cause? Where was the player coming from? How did we have ball security? Was it tight enough? And then from the interceptions, you want to look at it to say, was the read there? Was something forced? Was there a tip ball? Those are the things that I generally look at. And so you could have a quarterback maybe has 10 on the year and say, okay, that seems high. And then all of a sudden this tip, like where they weren't necessarily onto him. So those are a little more specific. As far as us going into that spot, like I was talking about earlier with Jaden, I thought he's been somebody who's been proven a good decision maker with the ball. And I think we'll continue to see that from him. But creating them is the best way to get in the plus. Because you don't want to rely on just, hey, we got great ball security, but we're not taking out anybody. You'll stay around the lower numbers. So the more you get, the better your chances are to go in the plus. And that part, for us not making them or missing the chances at it, that's a big deal.
All right. Thanks.
I got, oh,
Go ahead.
usually see some division games at the end of the season, obviously, but with 4 straight, do you like that? Like last month, all division?
I do. I don't know if I've had that. I thought about that before. Is there a time when I can remember where I had 4 consecutive? I like how the league set that up. It's competitive. It's tough. You know where you're at. And early on, sometimes it's nice to start with one where it's like right off the bat, everybody's attention's ready. But in this instance, familiar opponents going for it 4 weeks in a row. A couple of them are in shorter weeks. I think there's a lot of value in that, and we'll be ready to fight.